You're listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Wepa, what up, me? This is your boy, Al Mega. Thank you for tuning in to a brand new Comic Crusaders Podcast. Yes, different view because this is just insane. I have no internet, so I gotta use the phone. I'm using my regular equipment, folks. All right. So you gotta excuse the fact that I'm not be able to show some links and some awesome PowerPoints as I talk to this amazing illustrator today. You got this awesome project, coloring book, do your own story. I kind of feel like ad-libs and whatnot to me. Showing my age, right? Coño. But this creator is just absolutely amazing. I'm so happy I have him on. The one, the only, the legendary, if you will, Craig Holland. Kiddo, what is poppin'? How you doing today? And I can't hear you for some odd reason because you're on mute.
My mic again. I don't know what it is, so, but I'm doing well.
Technical difficulties, folks. I'm doing well, bro. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Apologies that, this is not in the typical Comic Crusaders podcast fashion, just due to the limitations I have just currently. But don't you worry. We're still going to take care of you. The notes is going to have everything, all the links, the pretty pictures, and all that good stuff. Don't you worry. So, Craig, again, thank you for taking some time. So let's get into her. Let's get doing it. My brother, tell the people, where's my brother Craig from?
Okay, so I'm initially from New Hampshire, so lived in a small town, went to college in a slightly less small town in Manchester, and then I currently live in Maine right now, so in the New England area. Okay.
So you stood there. You're New Englander for life, or what?
At this point, yeah. I mean, I moved to, it's like once you're kind of in there for a few years, you can't get out at this point. It's like you might go to Mass, you might go to Connecticut, but you're pretty much gonna stay within that confine of New England land.
I escaped. I broke the mold. I went from New York to Mass to Rhode Island, and now I'm in Florida.
Oh wow! So you really broke the mold.
Hell yeah! Now it feels like summer every day. It's horrible.
Oh god, it's funny.
I can't.
One of my brothers, he's at a few different jobs. He went to upstate New York. He went to California, he went to Illinois, and now he's back in Massachusetts. Okay. So he pretty much like every few years it seems like he moves around. So it's like, all right, he just kind of nomadic behavior. So
he's trying to find the right weather. I know it's difficult, because up there we got the 4 seasons, but those northeast snowstorms ain't no joke.
No. Like right now, like I think up north Maine and like New Hampshire is getting hit with snow, and I'm like, just rain for us.
What? Brag. Oh my! Well, let me get more of a humble brag here. It feels like New York summer where I'm at. I go outside, I'm catching a suntan like instantly.
Oh god, that's rough.
Yeah, but for this, it's like it's like you come out of a nice cold pool and somebody just happens to throw a very hot towel on you.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, that's how bad it feels. I'm like, all right, I gotta throw up, folks. This is horrible. But all right, so. Talk about growing up and the fandom, the pop culture that was available to you. Was it something that was available? Was it something you found on your own? Was it mommy? Was it daddy? Was it titi? How did you get put on?
So, like growing up, a lot of the fandom I liked, it was just I'm trying to think, like a lot of like the early 90s cartoons. I'm a huge Ninja Turtle fan. Obviously Spider-Man.
Another 90s kid. Jeez. I'm feeling my age. I don't to be now, but 90s kids.
I completely feel that because like there's people even younger than me like, oh yeah, like this is nostalgic, like back in like late 2000s. Like wait, I was in high school. God,
you're like, what? Nostalgic? How dare you call me old?
I'm just like I'm not. What this is like a Russian doll. Like, it keeps getting before you know there's gonna be a 3-year-old like, oh, this is awesome. Like you're 3. How do you know this?
Right? Wow, I can't believe they did that so many years ago. Like, what are you talking about, kid? I'm about to kick you back into the womb.
Pretty much. It's like, just go back in there. I don't want to hear that. But
so, okay.
Yeah, like,
it was Turtles.
Yeah, Ninja Turtles. I have like a huge collection, kind of around. Actually, I'll turn my camera, but I have that Ninja Turtle too.
Oh, okay.
You can see them on the
nice.
top shelf. Actually, right behind me, actually, too, is like a
Oh,
bunch of
damn.
action. Yeah, so like I have two older brothers, so some of them are their toys, some of them are mine. But yeah, that was a fan of like Power Rangers, old like Super Nintendo game, just stuff like that. It was just I always kind of gravitated toward how it was just so very colorful and just so
Yeah.
bonkers in a good way. Where it's like, how do you sell an idea of like 4 pizza eating turtles or a guy that crawls on walls? But a
But
lot of
more
that
so, 4 pizza eating turtles that know martial arts that were trained by a rat. Okay.
exactly, and they're not sluggish at all. Like they're just like nimble, but they're eating like like a whole pizza like nothing. And I do it. I'm like I'm
Hey,
soft for days.
yo, bro, I love pizza. Again, I mean, listen, you get food groups there. You get dairy,
Yeah,
you get veggies, and you get wheat bread. So at least you get 3 out of them. No.
exactly. You put like meat, you put like pepperoni or like
Yeah, there you go, brother. It's a
yeah,
complete meal.
you get the whole food group right there. You get everything. You're good.
Craig, you are my people. A person that makes excuses for why pizza is healthy is an ally and a friend.
Right. It's like the best thing for you. It's got everything.
I dig it. So, okay, did you find the tribe easily while you were there as a kid in the Northeast?
Yeah, so a lot of that stuff, I'm trying to think like the cartoons, like my older brothers, they had it like on VHS tapes. I watched a lot of that, rented from the
He
video
said
store.
VHS.
I know, God, yeah. I dated myself once where I'm like, oh yeah, like I videotaped her. Like I said something like, oh, I went and rented this. I'm like, oh God, I just aged myself so bad.
Right. A rent? What do you mean? What's that mean? Do you remember Blockbuster Kids? Probably not.
You mean the thing on Amazon where you just had the video for like a day and then it goes away? No. We actually like get out of the house and do it. So
We had to physically pick up a tape and return it and rewind it. Be kind and rewind, folks.
there was a book I read like about a year ago. It was like Confessions of like a movie heckler. It was a guy who like reviewed movies back in the 90s and the 2000s, and he had like the best it was something to the extent of like, he had like his wife go out, pick him up like a tape from the video store, and he kind of gave like a vague description, like, oh, it's this sort of actor and this plot. And she goes to get it. She comes back, it's the wrong one. She goes back again. So, and she goes like 4 or 5 times until she get the right one. But the joke is how like at the time, like so many movies had similar plots. Like, no, the one with the white guy who's on top of the bus. It's like, which one? There's too many of them.
Give me that. That's like a half of the 80s posters right there. Come on now.
Seriously, like I follow Drew Sturgeon on Twitter, the guy who does like all the like pretty much every movie poster known to man. And I'm like, wow, they all like some of the 80s ones just all look the same. It's just that like that Frank Frazetta, like this.
They just transposed the actor, right?
Right, exactly.
I love it. So okay, so here you are, you're a young man in the Northeast. You're loving your turtles and whatnot. When did you start getting into like illustration? When did that come about?
So I always kind of drew when I was a kid and growing up, and then in high school I kind of got into it again, and it was something I felt like I wasn't, because I was actually going to be an architect, and then I'm like I kind of gravitated more towards drawing. Then I went to college in art school in New Hampshire. It was the Institute of Art. Now it's Institute of Art and Design. It's a longer name now, but yeah, and I kind of learned my craft there. Like took a lot of like fine art classes, illustrative classes, kind of a little bit of everything. And it all did help me along the way. And then once I graduated, I did some freelance work like for like magazines around New Hampshire.
Cool. And anything we know?
I did New Hampshire magazine for a while, and then in Rhode Island, I did a couple covers for Motif magazine. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, I know Motif. I lived in Rhode Island, so I know Motif. Yeah, awesome.
Exactly. It was funny because I remember I was at Rhode Island Comic Con like maybe 5-6 years ago, and they took my card, and I was like, oh, okay, then whatever. I didn't think much of it. And then a few months later, they're like, hey, you want to do a cover for us? And I did a few, and they're like, they'd interview with me, and like,
oh, nice.
Yeah, it was like a brief like little snippet, and they go, oh, where are you from? Like New Hampshire. Like, how'd you get in contact with us? I'm like, I was at Rhode Island Comic Con. Like, yeah, we stake out that place.
I was at your show, darn it. Again, hey, bro, it's the biggest con in the little state. I was going every year while I lived in Massachusetts and Rhode Island. A shout out to Alter Reality. They put on a fun show.
Oh, it's great. I haven't got a chance to go back there, but when I was there, I did a lot of smaller conventions. Like, oh, it's nothing, and I can show up a little late, well, not late, but close, like right when it's about to open. I get in the parking lot. I see this huge line outside. I'm like, please don't be for vendors. Please don't be for vendors. Thankfully, it's like the people going. I'm like, I got my badge. I'm like, okay, I can go in. I can go in.
Oh, that badge is a blessing because that's how we get in. Press badge is like that line. What do you mean? Go to the side door. Hey, I love it.
Carpooling. I'm going.
Hell yeah, yo. I feel so special. Like, yes. And then I get to see everything pre-game, see how everybody's doing before, see the people come in with the excitement. Wonderful energy, man. And then to see the people like you, the creators and, just kicking ass and just really, showcasing, what they do. It's such an amazing experience. Something I really love. I can't wait for MegaCon in Orlando. That's my next convention. And, we're going to kick some ass there. Hooking up with Geek Fest Film Fest. So it's Comic Crusaders hanging out with Independent Film Festival, and we're gonna be kicking butt. Giveaways, folks, giveaways.
Like
you gotta come down to Florida, Craig. You gotta come down to Florida, man.
I've never been, so I mean, at some point, I gotta get my my pasty, white self down there at some point. So.
Oh yeah, bro, don't you worry, man. I'm gonna take you out. You get color in a day, and then we could see some good comic goodness all over the place. Cause I mean, within my own area, there's 4 comic shops within 20-minute distance.
That is both awesome and dangerous at the same time.
Yeah, it is. I know. My wallet and wife don't appreciate it very much, but yeah, I do. All right. So you're getting into the creativity. Now, when did you really start taking it like really serious? Like, I want to do something with this.
So pretty much right when I got out of the gate in college, because they're like prepping, you want to be a professional artist. I I got in contact with people like at Nature Magazine, and like I kind of like kept looking for like, okay, what's like looking at like Twitter posts, like people looking for artists or like other avenues. Like we actually have an alumni page from my college where it actually posts like, hey, anybody looking for like freelance work. That's kind of around the time I started doing comic conventions, was around 2016, where I started tabling and started selling fan art prints. And then 2017, I still published my first comic, where the one in the background, you can see Call Me Reggie, where it basically, coloring comic book, fill in the panels, fill in the dialogue, color the panels, make them say wherever you want them to, and kind of like snowballing from there and just kind of networking with other people too. And trying to think, actually done covers from people I met at conventions too. So it's kind of like fun, like seeing it all come full circle. So
dope. Check you out and talk to me about Reggie. I mean, a frog, bro, as a Puerto Rican, and we have a coqui, which is a frog is basically our national character. You know what I mean? Yeah, bro, the coqui. So talk to me about Reggie. What type of frog is he? Where did this idea come from? And again, the uniqueness of this project too.
Yeah, so a few things. The character itself, I started the character back actually over 10 years ago at this point. So the idea was, we did an illustration for my illustration 1 class, where it was, okay, put an animal in a human situation, like, like it could be anything, like a bear at a stock market or just any silly thing like that. And the teacher was a bit, at art school, you can have teachers who are like, they embrace really weird ideas and some that don't. He was one of the ones that didn't, and I like doodled this like, this frog as like Mortal Kombat scorpion reptile, where like his tongue turned into like a harpoon or like a shuriken. Yeah. And I doodled, like, no, he's not gonna go for it. It's like I just kind of kept it aside. I did something else, and that summer, like I drew it. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Then my senior year, I think actually my junior year, at one point we redid old pieces. That was when I redid. And then our senior project for illustration was, do whatever you want, where like I eventually did a comic book and I eventually did like a small story with this character. Okay. And cool. It's kind of like it's snowballed over time, which is funny. He actually saw the character, that same teacher, years later. He goes, "That's awesome." I'm like, no, you're supposed to hate it.
It's awesome now. You gave me an F.
Exactly. But and then basically it was kind of another inspiration. Do you know like so the movie The Mask, like it was based off a comic book back in
from Dark Horse. I know. I love The Mask. Absolutely.
It's like one of my favorite comic books, and like I kind of like the idea of other people like getting like a mask or a ring, and it just does kind of like really weird things to you, and that's where it kind of stumbled from there. Where guy gets a ring and just turns into a frog.
How did you find The Mask though? I gotta know this, because again, you're a young man. People at least at a young age, are acclimated towards books from Marvel and DC.
Yeah.
What was it about the Mask from Dark Horse that just you're like, oh man, I like this?
So I go down a lot of rabbit holes. Like I find like I love like Universal horror movies. I like I like a lot just finding really weird, obscure stuff. Like
oh,
just
bro,
because
you're my brother from another mother, bro. Facts. I do the same thing.
I'm glad I'm not alone in that regard. And I think how I found out about the Mask. So like obviously the Ninja Turtles, like years ago, I found out in high school they were a comic book, and then like I go on Wikipedia a lot. Like at the time, I was like maybe 19, 20, and I found like, hey, the Mask, it was based on a comic. Like that can't be right. And I found it was, and I found it really, because you never know. Like there's so many books that you wouldn't think are based off a comic, but they are. Like
yeah.
Oh, what's that one from Daniel Clowes? Ghost World. That's another one where
true.
know the movie, but they don't know like the actually based off a book.
Oh, even like that Jennifer Lopez one that just came out. That married one where she's with Owen Wilson. But that's based on a webcomic.
Oh, it's so weird.
Yeah, and the thing is that it was not sold under that. Like it was they didn't even state based on the webcomic by. She tried to sell this. Oh, this is based on my life. No, it's not. Oh, you lying for you. How dare you? Yeah. Right? Thank you.
How dare you do that?
Don't disrespect any comic creators. Say like, hey, this came from a webcomic. No interview that she did stated it came from a webcomic. So as a Puerto Rican, I'm embarrassed. Like, how dare she?
That's bad. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's really bad. I mean, give credit. I mean, you know how I found out, Craig?
How?
The creator followed me on Twitter, and then of course, I always double check who is this person before I follow, because I always follow back. So long as you're not a person that believes in gating or negative, you know what I mean? If you're positive, love, and an awesome creator, then I'm for you, and I'll follow you right back. So I checked. I'm like, oh no, he didn't. Get out. It blew my mind. And I told my wife, because she enjoyed the movie. She was like, no, it's not. I'm like, yo, look, boom.
Oh God, that's so strange. Like, it's wild.
Yeah. Like, if it's come from a comic, don't be embarrassed. Comics are stories too. So, it is what it is. What's the problem? That's just for me, because I definitely want to see this frog in action. Although you got this frog in action in a whole different way, because as an illustrator, you did something really cool. Because it's something I also enjoy doing when I'm like stressed. You made this into a coloring book, bro. But not just that. When I said I feel like the ad-libs from back again, I don't know if I'm dating myself. Did you remember the ad-lib books that you would order from Scholastic?
Yeah, I remember those.
Thank God. Thank you for not making me feel that old.
No, I think they still have them. I think I'm into like Barnes and Noble or Books a Million. I think I saw Mad Libs there, and I'm like, oh, they still have those. Nice.
Oh wow, say a word. So talk about the inspiration. Why that why coloring? Why all of that? Because again, it's very cool. I really dig it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. So when I was in 2016, like I started doing conventions. I'm like, I want to sell a comic, but I don't have a means to like actually like sell a comic. Like I don't have an idea. Like I don't know like the schematics behind it, like printing it, writing it, all that. I'm like, I have an idea, but like because I tried a year before that. Yeah, like what it takes, and I made a comic a year before, and I'm like I kind of did it like nights after work, and it just didn't come out as what I wanted to be. And then I was one day I was talking to someone, and like, what you should do, like when you're an artist, like you hear the phrase, what you do, and 9 times out of 10 it's like nothing that applies to you. It's just it goes like completely at the wall. This is the 1 out of 10 where they're like, you should do a coloring comic book. I'm like, that's not a bad idea. And then yeah, and I was like, oh, that's actually solves one problem, because like I can just it could be a loose narrative, and then the ad-lib part, that's kind of how I did dialogue for a while, where I'm a stickler for dialogue, and like really bad dialogue in movies or books where it's like, come on, that's cheesy, they could have something better, where like I'll leave it blank, like I have an idea what they're gonna say, like, and then like the last minute, what would I say in that situation, like what's the first natural thing. And that's what I'm like, I'll just leave it blank. They just put whatever they want in there. Kind of make their own story. Like, here's like a loose narrative, and you just kind of go from there. And and everybody's just different. Like I've seen a few people, I'm like, oh, I didn't expect it to go that route, but it's kind of, I wanted to make, again, like kind of like a test run for like I Kickstarted back in 2017. Like, all right, like I kind of want to get my foot wet, like how to print and like how to format everything correctly. And this is
all right.
And yeah, it was a good
step. Was that a learning curve for you there too?
What was that?
Was that a learning curve? I mean, how much did you have to kind of learn, and how big was that learning curve? How long did it take you to acclimate yourself, to create this the way that you did?
So it was a learning curve. Like I think one thing was like making consistent page sizes. Like there was one, like if that makes sense, like there's that standard, like where the proportion is for comic books, like making sure it all fits in there. Because there were times where there's one page where it had an open top, and I drew it. I'm like, why is this proportion not right? I was like an inch short on one of the sides. Like, oh, okay, I gotta fix that. It was an easy fix, but I was like, that was one thing. Obviously understanding all my costs, so like the book printing, the shipping, the production time, shipping to other people. That was another learning curve too. How
did you learn that portion, of the business, if you will?
Oh, how did I pick up on that, or?
Yeah, I'll let you pick up on that to say, okay, this is what's going to be best for me. Because again, we have a lot of creators that tune in. So just to kind of learn that journey, like how did you figure this out?
So my day job a few years ago, so I used to work at a t-shirt company. So like I was customer service and printing, printing, like submitting orders for like t-shirts, promo items. So it was kind of like I don't want to say a trial run, but it kind of gave me insight. Like, okay, this is what my raw cost is for a t-shirt. Like, say you want to print like 120 t-shirts. This is our raw cost. This is like our print. This is what you mark the t-shirt up. This is the print cost on top of that. And then like, other stuff like shipping. And it's just kind of one of those things where like, okay, like I got that same mindset. Okay, like I want to use this kind of paper. How many pages? Because I know with books, I think you have to do like increments of 4. So it has to be like, 28 pages, 32, like so on and so forth. So that's something you got to keep in mind too.
I didn't know that. Okay, cool.
I know some printers are like that too, because basically what they do is they take a long sheet of paper, they staple it and like fold it in half.
Okay.
Yeah, which when I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's, you don't think of it, but it's like, oh, wow, that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, so a lot of, yeah, like understand, like, okay, how, like, I'm trying to think. So like what the minimum is to print, how many like feasibly can I get printed? Like what would be the cost? Like again, outbound shipping, like to me. So like a lot of that stuff, I'm like, okay, keeping track so that way I can like, proper. So that way I don't do the thing with Kickstarter where it's like, oh, here's my goal. Then I miss something like greatly, which I was misquoted on my first book for printing like slightly, but I'm like, okay, it wasn't a huge thing. It was just, I was like, oh, I'm like trying to submit.
How did you handle that? Because you are an independent creator. You get a misquote. Those misquotes, those misquotes hit the pocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how did you handle that as an independent creator?
There was a few things. One, I talked to them and we worked something out. And the other thing was, I'm trying to think, like with Kickstarter too, especially they take, like Kickstarter gets a little bit of a fee, then like a little bit of a fee for using Stripe, like their payment processing. So it kind of evened out a little bit.
They do an eBay, basically 10% off the top, and then whatever else I could charge you on, I'll charge you.
Right? Yeah, which I get. You're using their platform, like it's basically, yeah, you're using our platform. You're on your own. We're not going to take any accountability, but it kind of worked out where like
we're taking money from you anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, you get to play with us, but there's a little bit of a fee involved. It's like great. But yeah, one thing was the fees weren't as high as I thought. Like, I overestimated, so it kind of evened out a little bit. But
okay, good.
And yeah, so same thing in the Kickstarter I did last year, where I think actually a few things came out like a little, like I overestimated outbound shipping to people, so my backers, so it actually worked out. I'm like, oh god, like this came out higher, but like my shipping came down lower. But
I love that. And listen, I'd rather have an overcharged thought and then be so under. You're like, oh my god, more profit. I'm happy.
I'm like, oh god, not in the hole. Thank you, God.
Oh man, you were sweating, huh?
I was
so
sweating.
How many crowdfunding projects do you have under your belt thus far?
I've done 2. So this I published, Color Me Reggie, I published in 2017.
Oh, look at that book.
Yeah, this is Pride and Joy Radio.
How thick is that baby? Oh, look at that. She's a thick one, huh?
I'm trying to remember. Actually, do I have a page count? I want to say so you can put it to the camera.
Show me that, baby. Look at that. Hell yeah. Look at that. Look at that, folks. I'm able to change the camera. I figured it out. Look at that. Ooh. So that's, oh man. And is that the kind of the same coloring paper similar to what Image has been doing with their coloring books? That type of style? I don't know if you've seen those books.
I might have. It kind of is. Like I know it's like that type of like a little bit better than printing paper. It's kind of like that kind of quality.
Nice. Okay. Bet.
And then this one I just published last year. It's Our Adventure Corporal Mascot. So basically, it's a game about retro video games. So I can just and basically the back of it is
PlayStation joint, the first one too, the controller.
Yeah. So actually, I think I can find it. So
are you a PlayStation guy? Is that what you're trying to tell me, bro?
So the inspiration of can I show it? The inspiration. So I kind of did each generation of video games. So like this is based off of like the Super Nintendo, the Genesis, and the TurboGrafx 16 a little bit.
Oh like, my God! You said Turbo, bro. I had that with Slaughterhouse and Bonk's Adventure.
Oh God, I love Bonk. Bonk is amazing. I love Bonk.
And you want to talk about Super Nintendo? My birthday's this weekend. Look what my brother bought me.
What? No way.
Yes,
that is dope.
I have it right there. The cartridge. There it goes.
He's still my beating.
I need the booklet, and one of my boys found the booklet online on eBay. Do you know that they want $45 for the booklet alone?
Oh God,
Jesus! But you know what? If I get birthday money, that's free money to me. I'm gonna go for it. Like hell yeah! For that to finish this, because this is a custom box. This is not the OG box. It's a look at this.
Is that a clamshell?
Yeah, yo.
Oh, that's sweet.
That's what I'm saying. It's a custom box from a company called CustomGameCases.com. So any game you have that doesn't have a box, you could get a custom, and they use the original printing from the original game and everything to make the cover.
I'm gonna give that a shot. Yeah, there's some games I'm like, I want to put it in a box, but I don't want to use like the flimsy, like the paper ones, like back like the.
You don't want that crap. Yeah, no. Like I still have my Spawn Dreamcast Japanese edition.
I actually have that game too.
Complete. Yeah.
I just have the disc.
Yeah, bro. I got both the Japanese and American Dreamcast because that was a system ahead of its time, but because it was Sega, I think people pooped on it and not realizing how advanced it really was.
Yeah, actually,
it's a modem, dude.
Before anybody else, and plus it had like the VMU where you could pretty much take like mini games on the go.
Yes. What an ill system. What did they do wrong, bro?
They actually had a book from I can't remember the company, but they actually did a Sega Dreamcast book, like kind of the history of it a little bit and all the production art behind it. It is, my God, it is amazing. It's
okay. Like, I need that in my life because I'm a big fan of the Dreamcast. I mean, Rush 2049 is one of my favorite racing games on that platform.
That's a dope one. I'm trying to think of it. It's funny. Like a few years ago, my buddy, I was at his house and we're like playing games. I brought Rush 2049 over and we're like. We just started playing the battle mode. Like this is amazing. Why haven't we been playing this more?
Yeah, I love that. I kind of raised my daughter on that. I used to beat her ass when she was nothing but a wee lad, and then as she got older, it's like holy shit, she finally beat me. It's Daddy's getting rusty.
It's like at that point, like wait, I'm not letting you win anymore. This is getting personal.
Like, wait a minute, I'm starting to sweat. Let me take my hat off. Holy shit, because this is getting serious, kid. It's like, do you want to eat tonight?
They roll up the sleeves, like, all right, that's my ticket personal. It's funny mention the Dreamcast because I actually did an homage to it. Like,
oh my God, hold on, I need to see this even bigger. Stop lying. Oh, I love it. Thank you for doing that.
I try.
You're a man after my heart, bro.
I try.
Okay. I'm digging it. We're fans, bro. Come to Florida. I got my Dreamcast. I'll pull that bad boy out. And we're gonna play some games, bro. And I still got my Nintendo 64. So you want to do some WCW versus NWO? Let me know.
Ooh, I love those wrestling games. Those are killer.
Yeah, the N64 ones were some of the best. That especially the Battle Royale. There was this one night that my brother-in-law. I don't know. It was my brother, my brother-in-law. All of us. The ladies went out, so I pulled out the 64. We were playing it. This is when it was still new.
Yeah.
Man, let me tell you. That any character my brother-in-law would choose in this, because remember, you could put all 4 remotes. So anytime he would come in, I swear to God, either me, one of my brothers was waiting for him, clothesline him out. He was not getting into the ring.
My God.
You know that game you could cheese, but you could be such a cheese master in that game. I loved it.
Oh God, it's a beautiful thing. I want to play those a little bit.
Okay, now I made him itch. I made poor Craig itch for this. Now, you bastard! I gotta pull out my stuff now. This book, man, where can I get it? Because again, you got Frog coloring, it's ad-libbing, and that ad-libbing part, though, you know, before you even continue, why that? Like what kind of made you choose, say, you know, not just the coloring part? Because I think that ad-libbing is what really stood out to me. Because I've seen a lot of coloring books, but the fact that I could actually make this kind of my own story too.
Yeah. Because the way I start out the book is there's a little description where it's like, oh yeah, you know, there's a deadline coming up, and the colorist and the letterer, they're gone. You can't. They bailed out of the project, so you got to finish it just in time. So I figured like, well, I want to make it more just like a coloring in. Like some people could do it great, but I'm like, I want to more something personal. Like, hey, like, you know, just I don't know what to make the story. Here's like a very vague narrative, just like these two people, a couple people fighting, and be like, oh, what would you say, or how would you make it different? Like some people make it a series, some people just put complete nonsense in there. So.
Oh man, I could imagine, yeah, because I know my head is already, you know, running through scenarios, if you will, of how I would do that. I'm digging it. Are you gonna do more of these or what?
Yeah. So you mean just like books in general, or do more coloring books, or
more of these coloring books, especially within the narrative with the Frog character, and then obviously, you know, any more projects, and you know, where you kind of trying to lean towards, you know, let's speak it onto the world, because when you speak things, you manifest them. So let's manifest right now.
So kind of short-term plans. I want to potentially start a webcomic with my fiance. We've had our idea. We're doing our cats. Like we do like these really dumb jokes. Like, oh yeah, what if our cat got a paper route to pay our mortgage or something?
Wait a minute. You have a fiance that likes this culture too?
Kind of, sort of.
Did you get that lucky to find someone that enjoys this too?
she okay.
You're segueing her into it. Gotcha.
She's not opposed to it, but she likes it. She's like, we like certain things together. Like we'll watch like certain movies together, and I kind of got her into games a little bit, and she reads.
Excellent.
She reads a lot, and she actually became a more consistent reader because of her. Because like when I first met her, she like, oh, I read like 50 books a year, and that's a slow year for me. And I'm like, what? And they're like books this thick.
Holy shit, yo, kudos, because I really want to get to that level, because again, when you read on that level, that's how you work out your brain. Oh, God, to be honest, you know what I mean. So good on her. If I, you know, I read a lot of comics. I don't know what that would equate to in book size, but when it comes to books, I maybe read 2 to maybe 3 a year at most. Wow, 50 shit. She has put me to shame. I'm got to step up.
Like I remember before I met her, like, oh yeah, I'm like the most I've read in the past few years is 27, but that was pandemic year. Just like
you're bored.
Well, it was. I think I tracked it where I would have read like maybe 15, 18 books, just because my goal that year was like 12. And then pandemic happened. I read like 4 books. Wasn't furlough.
So, wait a minute. So you set yourself a reading goal, why did you do that? Let's talk about that, because I think that's important for everybody too. I mean, if you're fans, you know, but you also got to, you know, again, this is a muscle. So why did you put that goal?
I kind of like to make little goals for myself, like, because one, I have a huge backlog of books. Like, okay, I want to make this into kind of, how do I phrase it, like a more attainable goal. Like, I'm not going to be able to read all these books. Like, okay, I got to break it. Like, same thing I do in my art too. Like, I break it down. Like, okay, how long does it take me to read this one book? Okay, it takes me like this long. So like maybe a book a month, or like, okay, like I think like my goal like a few years ago was 12. I did 27. I destroyed that goal last year. Like, okay, I'll do, again, pandemic, but again, I would have beaten it anyway. Last year I was like, okay, it's 15. And then I got to 15. Like, okay, I do like maybe 5 more, where something to like kind of give me other perspectives. Like I'll read like Stephen King. I read Christopher Moore. I read like sports books, obviously. I kind of like keep it a little interesting. Like, I don't know what I'm going to read next. Cause I remember years ago, I read like all Michael Crichton books at one point. Like, okay, I got one authored out, then same thing with another one. I like to kind of keep it
That's
upside.
cool.
Yeah, just kind of keep it interesting. You never like different perspectives on things you wouldn't expect, and the same thing in my art too. Like I'll like the way I did my last book, where I broke it down where this book I like the third part. It's in 3 parts, like each are about 20-ish pages long. The third part I did. I was in furlough for 6 weeks because obviously pandemic. Like I wrote, drew, and colored or inked all 20
In
pages
6 weeks.
Yeah, like about 6 weeks. I started maybe like a week or two before. Like my state was in New Hampshire. They were a little slow. Like I started, and then I treated like a 9 to 5. Like once I got in a pandemic, like furlough mode, like literally 8 hours a day. Like I got like 2 pages drawn and then inked and colored, and I was pretty close. Like there was like at one point I'm gonna guess like, this day in April, about like 2 years ago, I'm gonna be done by this, and I was like on the dot. Like that's why like
Beautiful.
if I do like yeah, I was basically like when I was drawing, I can do like draw 3 pages a day. When I was inking, I get 2 done. When I colored, I could maybe get like 1 or 2 done. But yeah, I kind of if I break it down, it helps me like, okay, this is more achievable. Like when I work out too, same thing. Like I got to break this down. It's like, okay, like I can build up to this and other things like that.
So you think that maybe are steps that a lot of independent creators should take? You know, again, you have a day job and all. So you find that to be very helpful.
Yeah, just kind of organization just helps. Like, okay, like instead of like, oh, I only have an hour, I can't get anything done. Like, okay, what can I get done in an hour? What can I get done? Like, it could be something stupid like I scan it, like scan one of my drawings on my computer. Like that half hour could save me time down the road. And or if like I like, oh, I have like half hour to sketch. It's like I get this one sketch done, I send it off to someone to get, hey, do you like this? Or like again, like little things you don't think would add up. It's like, hey, it makes it easier. So when I have like a full like studio day, I spend less time. I just get to the point, get it done.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what's the future looking like right now? What we got? Where can I get this amazing book? And then what we got coming?
So you can get both my books on. I have a big cartel shop. If you look for C Holland Art, both of them should be there now. With my color book, you get free color pencils with it.
Oh, word! Hey! Oh shit! Say word. So how many colors we getting in there?
These are just basic. I think 6. So you got. Come on, they're like golf pencil size. You got red. You got one that doesn't want to come out. I think that one's orange, but you get red, green, yellow, blue.
Oh, cool. I think that one's. I like that idea.
Yeah, I figured just kind of throw it in with them, and then
that's dope.
Thank you. Yeah,
I like that so much because I've seen coloring books before, and none of them offer you the pencils. Hey, go ahead and go get some Crayola joints like this.
Oh God!
Let me tell you, these joints are whack. All right.
Oh God.
Yeah, they're whack. I don't like these at all.
No, I actually gave away like I found like rose art ones or whatever I got my hands on. I started giving those out. Then I found a website that actually did like branded stuff like this. I'm like, you know what? It makes more sense. It's not like, hey, here's Crayola. Here's like an actual.
I mean, exactly. Because when I look at your art and just the example of what you did, with the background image, look how popping those colors are.
Thank you.
And I mean, may I ask, does he have pink eyes for a reason? I mean, I hope this frog is not a smoker because I know 420 is coming up.
That would make sense, but no, he it was more of just a color thing. Like I based him off kind of like tree frogs, like more common frogs. Okay. That's like the something that'll contrast well against like a green
against the green. Oh yeah, hell yeah.
It's funny.
Are you gonna make me a Puerto Rican one, a coqui? When are we gonna get a coqui in there?
Someday. But as far as the future, so like I said, I'm in the idea of working a webcomic, just more because I'm getting married, so it's kind of I'm getting time to like, work on.
Hey, congrats!
Thank you.
Epa, when is that happening, kiddo?
In the summer, so it's coming up in the next couple of months. So
it's coming up really fast. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I mean, I've been ready for years, so at this point,
oh, there you go. Hey, that's what she wants to hear. Yeah, I hope you're listening. You got a good man there.
She probably hear me through the floor, but I'll send her a link afterwards. But
I don't know. Says you got a good one there. Hold on to.
And then other projects. I have an idea for a comic. I'm waiting for just time. And I kind of God, I have it written out. It's called the Banana Man Slayer.
The Banana Man.
So So the story
that sounds psycho already.
The joke is it's a comic book artist who fights like a ring of like guys at convention with banana suits and maracas.
So basically, they're fighting Brian. It's peanut butter jelly time.
And I don't want to get too much away, but the joke was a few years ago at a convention. There was one day where I was at Terrificon, but it was like Friday at conventions is usually pretty slow, and like our aisle was pretty slow, but it's a Friday. We're hearing someone in this huge auditorium play steel maracas, and like we could hear him like across like this huge. And he's in a banana costume. I mean, he didn't come down at any point. Like, and at this point, I'm like, I'm exercising, lifting weights. I'm joking. If he comes down, I'm gonna punch him square in the face.
Wait, this is in New Hampshire. Please tell me this person. All they do is dress up and they just play. They do nothing else. They just play that. They don't even look at you.
It was at a convention in Connecticut. So it was a joke where someone. I talked to a few other people. There's always like one person at some convention wherever they go. Like it's not always the same guy, but someone with a banana costume and maracas just walks around.
Yeah, because when I went to one in Comic-Con, there was this guy dressed in the banana, playing maracas, and that's all he did. Even if I say, let me take a picture, he wouldn't say okay. He just kept playing the maracas, would look at you and then move on after you took the picture. Would not say a word except maracas. And I agree with you, man. I think that if I go to the Northeast, Craig, you and me may need to jump this guy.
and the way the joke kind of evolved too is like every time the guy never once all weekend came down our aisle where I'm like, yeah, he knows I'm gonna hit him. And like every time you hear the maracas, and then everyone in the aisle would look right at me every time you walk by, and they're like, "You're gonna do it." And then I was talking to someone about like I'm trying to think. I was watching Unsolved Mysteries at the time, and I saw the Son of Sam episode where like there's a huge cult, and I'm like, oh god! And I like drew doodles of like me punching, and it was one of those things where like it was a joke that I kept going into, and I'm like, oh crap! I can't not do this as a comic now. This is too perfect.
Please, the Moroccan banana. Let's go. I want to see this.
Like I said, I've written it. I've done like little doodles for each page, but I just haven't had it. Hopefully.
Please.
I'm going to do it just at some point. Once like the wedding's done, I can just focus on this and just kind of like go full throttle.
Excellent. So let's get past that honeymoon. The future Miss Holland, so that way you can make this next future cartoon that's going to be on Adult Swim.
God, that would actually be pretty fitting for it.
So talk to me about the goals. Like out of everything you've done, like, do you have, again, manifestation? You have to speak it onto the world. What would be the one thing that you would definitely want to see happen with any of your projects?
So one goal is outside of my personal goals, I just want to keep making books, but I want to do something for the Ninja Turtles. Like last year, oddly enough, they actually shared one of my drawings.
Yeah.
So the long story is, I don't know if you saw it, but I did a drawing. So last year I got tagged in an art challenge, like a fan art challenge, and 1 week it was Ninja Turtles, and I'm like, I've drawn them before. I can't think of anything new. I was gonna skip it. It was July. I'm watching Shudder, and I'm like, wait a minute. What if I do like Halloween theme? Like because I had the Michelangelo when he's Frankenstein. Like, why don't I just like do them?
Yes.
Why don't I do them trick or treating? And so I like got this idea, and I'm like, oh my god, I had this idea. I drew it, and like I think I published it in August on Instagram, and then a month later I get a message on Instagram, and I'm like, oh, it's in my spam, not the spam, but the non-general one, and I'm like, okay, it's probably like some guys like, hey, want a partnership for a Rolex or something, but like this, oh yeah, be our administrator, but they're like, hey, we're Ninja Turtles, we like this drawing, can we share it? I'm like, take it, just take it.
Yes. Well, how dare you ask? Just do it.
And I'm like, well, you need to kind of sign a disclosure. I'm like, no, just take it. And what's funny is I was like, this can't be real, and I signed the disclosure, and they on October 4th they're like, yeah, we're gonna share it. And that was the day Facebook went down.
Oh, you effers.
They posted it, and then it went down. Like, I'm like, you know what? I think it was me. I think I'm the one that broke.
You broke fate. Everybody, Craig Holland is now known for breaking Facebook on October 4th of that year, yo.
I think it has to make sense because 15 minutes later, after I took a screenshot, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a big moment. Then like, hey, I go on Twitter, Facebook, so I'm like,
you know what? That is a big moment. I hope you took a screenshot of this. Say, look, I was so big, I broke Facebook.
I told people that, like, I joke where I like text my friends like, okay, I was gonna share it on Facebook, but hey, like they did share it, and eventually went up and everybody saw it, and I'm like, oh, thank God. But it was one of those, like, if I never do that's my one outside of my personal goals. If I ever do a cover or contribute, that's my one big goal. But if I just had that, I'm content. I'm like, it's kind of one of those things where
let's make it happen. Let's make it happen.
I'm aggressively like doing all the Turtles fan art I can do. Be like, hey, come on, you know you want this.
IDW, you got the license. Here you have an amazing artist right now. Give him a chance. Give him a cover. Give him a cover. Because one of my boys that I met in Massachusetts, Ian Nichols, also, awesome homie, bro. I love the dude to death. Great artist, great humble human being. And, you know, I met him going to small cons. And then just a couple of years later, next thing you know, he's working with IDW and has done Ninja Turtle covers. Right. And he did one of those covers when Jenica was coming on. All right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, you know, he got to be able to put his imprint on that. So, which is really cool. So, you know what, bro? You're in the Northeast. You're amongst such a talented area. I know you're going to get picked up. I know right now, IDW, you listening. All right? You listening, IDW. You need Craig, too. You know, let's get that turtle stuff going. He needs to pay for this marriage or in that honeymoon, right? That's awesome, bro. Appreciate that. Many congrats on just, your nuptials that's going to happen. What you're doing now, these projects. Here we are talking about manifestation because you are awesome. You got these. I like the fact that you're one of these creators that actually just creating things that are fun. To take me out of, or us rather, out of the natural world, you know what I mean? And take us away, sitting down with some pencils, even though these are not as good as what you got. But, to get there and just color, have fun, making our own story. Just thank you for allowing us to have that moment to get away from the world to just, delve into the things that we enjoy. So, you're one of those creators, that I appreciate that. Really work towards those type of goals. So thank you for that. Honestly, bro. I'm giving you your flowers, but Toma, you're the man, bro. And I hope everything that you wish for comes to fruition because you are extremely talented, and I know they will.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much for the kind words.
Nah, brother, you got this. So I know that again, like as I said, my personal internet is down, so I can't show off the links. But if you don't mind sharing with our viewers and listeners today, what are your links? Where can I follow you? What is your website? Where can I go ahead and throw my wallet at my computer and buy everything I need to buy?
I'm glad you asked. So my main website is, www.craighollandillustration.com. Just my first name, last name, and then illustration.com. My Facebook is Craig Holland Illustration. My Instagram and Twitter is just C Holland Art, just my first initial, last name, and art. My Big Cartel, I believe it's hollandart.bigcartel.com. If not, it's on my website, so you can check. I think if you go to shop, it should be direct you there. It should have a link to there. I do have a YouTube. I'm not super active on it as much anymore, but it's the same thing, C Holland Art. Thankfully, best chance if you find me in social media, just find me at C Holland Art, and chances are I'll be there. Except for
if Facebook. It's C Holland Art, it's this C Holland.
more often than not, I'm like, oh wow, no one's claimed this. I'm taking it.
Yeah, you better. I always tell this to every creator: take everything you can, even if you're not going to use the platform for a while. Just own the name.
Yeah,
get her done. I've seen people get held hostage on their names on platforms full of bullshit. So just as soon as it comes out, get her done.
Just get it all at once.
For real, bro. Yeah. You've been an amazing guest. Again, apologies. This is not my normal way that I do things because, again, the lack of access. But I appreciate you nonetheless for, bearing with me here, chatting with me, telling me about the greatness of this project. and all this stuff is again available on the website, right?
Yep, it is. Yeah, if you go on my website, you'll get directed to my Big Cartel. I have those 2 books, and I think I have other goodies on there too.
The books? How much is this coloring book right now?
So the coloring Reggie is $10, and the color pencils are it's free, and then obviously shipping with it too. I think shipping I have at like $5-6. I think it's $6. Nothing. Yeah, I want to make sure people can afford it. And then this is $15, so 1.5, and then same thing, $6 for.
And that's a graphic though. That's a lot thicker.
Yeah, graphic novel. This is 60. Yeah, like full color.
Oh my God, gorgeous.
I'm trying to think where else. Like color, like actual covers done by a couple artist friends I have. Like one of my friends.
Yeah, you see that? You win, folks, if you buy this.
Right. And it comes with, and I include bookmarks too. I have a bookmark. I don't think I have it on me, but I for the corporal mascot that does come with bookmarks.
Awesome. So you got bookmarks, books, low cost shipping, great books, also at a low price point for amazing indie. Because folks, if you're not going to support this, bro, then you guys are nuts. Because these are the people we need to sort of love to. This is the future of the industry, folks like this. And if you don't buy this now, you're gonna regret it, because once he shows up on Turtles, and you're gonna be like, damn, I could have had his early work, damn it, and it's gonna be sold out by then. How dare you?
First edition.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But with that, thank you so much, Craig. You've been an amazing guest. Thank you for your time. Again, congratulations to you and your lady. Much success in that marriage, much happiness, health, success to both of you. In the endeavor, and of course, not just within that, but in your career, because I see nothing but greatness for you. You definitely seem to be a creator that's all about the fun and just, enjoying the moment in the fandom. So just again, thank you for that. Now, folks, you know what to do. comiccrusaders.com, undercovercapes.com. I just tell you what to do. Just follow me and the family everywhere. I wanted to check out my boy Johnny Hughes on Outside the Panels, because I took a couple of weeks off, and Johnny picked up a lot of slack doing amazing interviews. So check out everything Outside the Panels on Undercover Capes, and of course the Comic Crusaders on YouTube, Comic Crusaders World on YouTube. Check out the website, new stuff every single day, especially when we talk to amazing creators like this. Craig, thank you again for your time. Folks, this is another Comic Crusaders podcast. I'm your boy, Omega. Hasta la próxima. Wepa! Later.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.com and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.